Hello, I'm Sarah Risk, and this is my review on Slaughterhouse-Five. As Billy travels throughout his life again and again, he gets to re-experience things that he did in his childhood while remembering the things that he has done as an adult, keeping his memories. While he goes through his life, he also has a continuous reminder of what's important to him. Vonnegut uses the Tralfamadorians as a way to deal with the death of loved ones and people he may not have known while incorporating the existence of a higher power. In Slaughterhouse-Five, there are some cons to the book. To people who are sensitive to violence and abuse, this book can get a little violent. In some areas, it's also very strong in describing the war. While grabbing the attention of readers is imperative, some of the things mentioned can be very provocative, especially if it's involved in a person's history or heritage. Early in the book, Billy was learning how to swim, and even if he objected, he learned through being thrown into the pool. They were sure Billy was going to pieces because his father had thrown him into the deep end of the YMCA swimming pool when he was a little boy, and had then taken him to the rim of the Grand Canyon. Later, when describing fight scenes while in the war over each other, it could get violent. Weary socked Billy a good one on the side of his jaw, knocked Billy away from the bank and onto the snow-covered ice of the creek. Billy was down on all fours on the ice, and Weary kicked him in the ribs, rolled him over on his side. Billy tried to form himself into a ball. Building on the amount of violence, some things can get personal due to their heritage or religion. And he told me about the concentration camps and about how the Germans had made soap and candles out of the fat of dead Jews and so on. All I could say was, I know, I know, I know. However, the pros outnumber the cons by far. Vonnegut would have characters built for comedic relief and uses the idea of people being clueless about how time works. But he would also use these aliens as a higher power, yet not knowing everything there is to exist. These Tralfamadorians would show how humans are less informed on how time works. It would take another Earthling to explain it to you. Earthlings are the great explainers, explaining why this event is structured as it is, telling how other events may be achieved or avoided. I am a Tralfamadorian, seeing all time as you might see a stretch of the Rocky Mountains. He would later act at some characters as comedic relief to make the war an easier subject to talk about. There was a big German attack, and Weary and his anti-tank buddies fought like hell until everybody was killed but Weary. So it goes. And then Weary tied in with two scouts, and they became close friends immediately, and they decided to fight their way to their own lines. While the Tralfamadorians are seen as a higher power, they also don't know how some humans think or are limited to their different views. Can I make a guess? Said Kilgore Trout. You saw through a time window. A what? Said Valencia. He suddenly saw the past or the future. Am I right? No, said Billy Pilgrim. Some potentially offensive content includes language, violence, and a mention of suicide. Vonnegut uses this story to describe what he's been through during World War II in Dresden to help cope with what happened, but he doesn't describe what happens in Dresden itself. And because so little is known about it, the true facts about what happened there are vague and could be more severe than what others think. Even if Vonnegut himself was in the destruction of the city while it happened, he isn't sure what happened in every single area of the city. Because if he's one of the few survivors, he was able to understand what happened through the aftermath of the bombing. I agree with the author's claims on how wars and massacres like Dresden have always happened and will continue to happen in the future, because people will continuously fight for what they think is right, even if they had bad or twisted morals. Creasy would say that it was a brutality in a long list that seemed to have no end in sight, which is accurate because as people progress with new technologies, they're exposed to more things that could be deadly and affect how they fight wars, and lead to more deaths as humanity progresses. As said previously, people will fight for what they think is right, even if they had bad or twisted morals. In World War II, people would fight alongside Hitler because he would say what they think was right, but he had morals that were obviously messed up.